everybody. What is up? It's Brianna here, coming at you the day before July 4th. I hope everyone's having a good morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you happen to be watching this. If you don't know who I am, I'm the founder of this group. I help teen girls and young women end the vicious cycle of their mental health challenges so that they can rise above them and truly start loving themselves from the inside out. I just got off of a beautiful, oh, hey, Rachel. I just got off of a beautiful group coaching session with my graduates, and I'm feeling inspired to just share what is on my heart, because the whole focus of today's session with my graduates is really coming into their hearts and getting out of their ego. And I did a little post earlier today, if you happen to read it, why it's so important to understand the inner working of our brain and our mind, to know that we have an ego, but also to know that when we are in the ego. Now, why is this so important when it comes to the mental health of girls and young women that are struggling? Well, because if they don't know that they have an ego, and if they think they are everything that they think, if they think that their thoughts in their head is coming from them. So if they have a thought that says, I'm fat, they think it's them that's created that thought. They're like, oh my God, I'm fat. If they have a thought that says, I'm worthless, I don't deserve to be here, right? If they don't understand that they have a separate self, which is the ego, that has created a bunch of these lies to keep them feeling separate, to keep them in their suffering, then it's really an uphill battle to start taking control of this. So the first thing that has to happen for these girls and young women to start to take control of their mental health is to understand that they all have an ego. Okay, we all have one. We may not want to have one, but we have an ego, right? Some people don't understand what an ego is, right? They don't understand, well, why is it important? Like, why does my daughter need to even understand she has an ego? She doesn't need this stuff. She has mental health struggles. She's anxious. She's depressed. She's suicidal. She's cutting. She's got an eating disorder. What does her understanding that she has an ego have to do with any of this? I'm here to tell you all, it has everything to do with everything that your daughter is struggling with. Because if your daughter doesn't understand where her thoughts are coming from, if she doesn't understand that she has a voice in between these two ears that's feeding her a lot of lies, that is keeping her in her suffering, and that is not her, then she's going to go right down with the lies, thinking that is who she is. We have to raise these girls up and empower them to start thinking differently. But they also have to understand where the lies are coming from. Because just to say to someone, well, you just got to think positively. You just got to love yourself a little bit more. You just got to look in the mirror and give yourself a hug. And that's going to make all of the bad thoughts go away. No, that's not going to work. What these girls really need is to understand the inner workings of the mind. Understand that they have an ego, but that they also have a heart. And this work is about getting these girls out of their egos and coming back into their heart. Most people are so identified with this false sense of who they think they are, but it's not who they are. It's a false sense of who they think they are, right? And so again, why this is so important for so many of these girls who are struggling with their mental health is they have to wake up to who they really are. And we can't be authentic and we can't be living in self-love and self-acceptance when we're not living from the heart. The heart is unconditional love. The heart is pure compassion. The heart is pure forgiveness. The heart is just love. And at the essence of every single person, like that is who we are at our core. And the reason that so many girls have lost their way is because they're not connecting to their hearts. They don't know how to connect to their hearts. They're connecting to this ego voice that's coming in from here, and it's spewing a lot of lies. The work is about your daughter coming back into her heart. It's a practice, because a lot of these girls, it's like, wait, unconditional love is inside of me? Wait, I don't have to like do more, be more, have more in order to like get that unconditional love? It's inside of me? Yes, it's inside of you. Wait, I don't have to get straight A's to like feel worthy and enough? Like I already am worthy and enough? Yes, you are already worthy and enough. Wait, I don't have to accomplish more. I don't have to be more. I don't have to get into like the top, school in order to love myself. I'm worthy and whole and enough just as I am. Wait, is that possible? Yes, it's possible. So these girls have these egos that have convinced them that they are lost, that they're broken, that they're damaged, that they're beyond fixing. Their egos have convinced them that they are worthless, that they're not enough. And until it's so important that these girls understand the separation of who they are and this voice in their head that's not them. Okay? And this has every single thing to do with mental health. Because what is mental health? It's figuring this thing out. And it doesn't have to stop with like, oh, well, you have a chemical imbalance. Well, you just have bad genes. You have bad genetics. That's your problem. Like, that's your issue. Just get on some medication. And I'm not against medication, but we're too quick and too eager to just write it off as a chemical imbalance. We're too quick and too eager to just write a prescription for that and be on your merry way. Instead, these girls can actually heal naturally. They can. They can learn how to think differently. That is very doable. They can learn how to connect with their hearts. That's very doable. They can learn how to forgive themselves. That's very doable. They can heal from their trauma and their past pain. That's very doable. They can learn how to process their emotions and feelings in a healthy way. That's very doable. They can learn to accept and love all aspects of themselves. That's very doable. That's what we were talking about in group today. Because we can't change and transform our lives and heal our lives based on an ego voice coming in saying, well, I like this, this, and this about myself. These are the things I like about myself, but this is the stuff that I hate about myself. Okay? We don't change by hating lots of aspects of ourselves. And we're like, wait, why haven't I created a new kind of life for myself? Because we're still continuing to hate on certain aspects of ourselves. And your daughter is doing this if she's struggling with her mental health. The work is to learn how to embrace and welcome and love and accept all aspects of ourselves. The ego has a field day with this because it's like, oh shit, wait, you can't learn to love yourself for everything. No, that's not possible. That's what the ego says, but that's not the truth of who your daughter is. The truth of who your daughter is unconditional love, is wholeness, is expansiveness. This is who she is at her core being. But your daughter doesn't identify that. She identifies with this voice in her head that says that she's broken, says that she's worthless, says that she's a waste of space, says that she's her mental health diagnosis, says that she is, has a chemical imbalance and all of the things, right? She doesn't have to believe it, but she's going to continue believing it until she understands this separation, that she's not her thoughts, right? Listen to Eckhart Tolle, everybody. Go listen to Joe Dispenza, Bruce Lipton, Michael Singer, who wrote The Untethered Soul, Wayne Dyer, Louise Hay, like All of these big spiritual people well, some of them have passed away and some of them are still around and living and speaking. It's like, we are not that small self that we think we are. We are so much more than that. So the Eckhart Tolles of the world and the Wayne Dyers and the Louise Hay, and like, we can heal ourselves, but it starts with coming from the heart, not coming from this ego that feeds us the lies that creates more suffering. So if your daughter is suicidal, if she's cutting, if she's got an eating disorder, if she is depressed, if she is anxious, if she's struggling with panic attacks, this is the work. Your daughter hasn't yet learned how to come into her heart. There's no magic pills that I'm going to give any of my clients for coming into their heart. It's learning something new. It's becoming who they have always been meant to truly be. Like, the true authentic self of who they are is here. It's not head. It's not in the ego. That's not who any of these girls are. They're not their lies. They're not these horrible thoughts that they say to themselves day in and day out. That you're pathetic, that you're a loser, that you're fat, that nobody likes you, that you're a waste of space. Like, that's not who any of these girls are. And the quicker that they can recognize that, realize that, and learn how to come into their hearts is the moment that everything changes for them, is the moment that they see that they're not their trauma, is the moment that they see that they're not their past pain and they're not their past suffering, is the moment they see that they don't have to listen to that voice in their head, because they get to choose empowerment. They get to choose enlightenment. They get to choose, I'm going to be self-aware, right? The thing with self-awareness is really big, because a lot of people are walking around in their egos and not in their hearts, and they're operating from old programs from the past that are no longer serving them. Same with your daughter. Your daughter, if she's struggling with her mental health, has a lot of patterns inside of her. Patterns of self-loathing, patterns of self-hatred, patterns of anxiety, patterns of depression, patterns of feeling like crap all the time, patterns of, you name it, they are patterns. But you know why I'm calling them patterns? Because it's not who your daughter is at her core. Patterns can be changed. Patterns can be changed. They are not permanent. So we need to be very careful with the language that we use, because a lot of girls go around and get significance from their mental health challenges by identifying with the depression as if that's who they are. They identify with the eating disorder as if that's who they are. They identify with the anxiety and the panic attacks as if that's who they are. Instead of, these are patterns. These are patterns that are running really deep inside of you, but you are not the pattern. And you can love the pattern, and you can accept the pattern, and you can welcome the pattern. But transformation for your daughter is not about loving parts of herself while shunning and hating other aspects of herself. This is huge, you guys, because once your daughter gets this, she is in control of her life. She is in control of her mental health. But it starts from living a truly authentic life from her heart. And these girls who are struggling with their mental health like never before don't know how to get into their heart, because they are identifying with the small voice in their head that is telling them that they are dumb, that they are stupid, that they are worthless, that they're pathetic, that they're a waste of space, that they don't deserve to be here, that they are fat, that they are ugly, that they are a failure, that they are a disappointment. At what point do we have to say, wait a second, maybe this is not a chemical imbalance. Maybe this is not something that you have to live with for the rest of your life. Maybe you can learn to think differently. Maybe you can learn to love yourself. Maybe you can learn to heal from your past pain and your past trauma. This is available. This is science. This is not some woo-woo stuff that's like, this is based in science. We are allowed to heal. Your daughter can heal. But we have all been programmed to believe something entirely different. That girls who have depression, girls who have anxiety, That's a chemical imbalance, and the only way to treat that is through medication. And then when that's not working, we can send these girls off to therapists. But some of the people who reach out to me, some of the parents who reach out to me have been through 3 therapists, 4 therapists, 5 therapists, 6 therapists, 7 therapists, 8 therapists, 9 therapists, 10 therapists. And they keep going like around and spinning their wheels, trying to find the right therapist who's going to be able to help their daughter, when we're really not looking at maybe the therapy model is just not working. Maybe the therapy model doesn't work. Does the therapy model go into anything that I have just talked about in this Facebook Live? If these girls aren't getting any better and they're on the medication and they're going from therapist to therapist to therapist to therapist to therapist, and they're still struggling, they're still in the depths of their anxiety, they're still in the depths of their depression, they're still cutting like never before, they're still binging and purging or starving themselves, and maybe they're even suicidal, maybe they don't want to be here anymore. This is the work that will transform your daughter's life. So if your daughter is struggling with any of the things that I mentioned, definitely check out my masterclass, Healing the New Medicine for Anxiety and Depression. I will leave that link somewhere below. Here's the deal. At the end of the day, your daughter is absolutely capable of healing her life. Your daughter is not the worst thing that's ever happened to her. Your daughter is not the worst trauma that she has ever experienced. She can heal from that. Healing doesn't just happen in here. Healing has to take place in the body. This is where the emotions and the trauma is also stored. There is so much healing. There's so much self-love, and it's just like, it can happen. And I see it play out all the time. I see it happen with so many of my clients. If your daughter is sick of the old way of doing things, you're sick of the old way of doing things, it's not working, and you're seeing that, check out my masterclass, book a call if this speaks to you. And everyone, I hope you have an amazing 4th of July. Bye for now.